5 times he was beaten with rods. Once he was stoned. 3 times he'd been shipwrecked. He was bitten by a poisonous snake. He'd faced angry mobs, fought off bandits, survived flooded rivers. He'd gone without food, proper clothing, sleepless nights. Nobody had more come against them than Paul. After being in prison for 2 years, he was brought before King Agrippa for his trial. When he stood up to give his defense, the first thing he said was, "King Agrippa, I think myself happy." You would think he would see himself as a victim, be bitter, angry, have a chip on his shoulder. But he shows us a secret of how to overcome all that. He said, "I think myself happy." You can think yourself depressed. You can think yourself into a bad mood. You can think yourself a victim. Or you can do like Paul and say, "I've had a lot of difficulties. I could be sour, but I'm going to think myself happy." As long as you're thinking about your hurts, what you didn't get, how you were left out, you're going to be discouraged. Why don't you start thinking happy thoughts? Happy thoughts are, I have a bright future. Something good is going to happen to me. My latter days will be better than my former days. I'm not saying to deny the negative. I'm saying don't dwell on it. Don't relive what didn't work out. Don't replay the loss, the disappointment, the failure. You can't move forward if you're looking back. You can't enjoy today if you're focused on yesterday. You may have had disappointments, things that are not fair. You need to do like Paul and start thinking yourself happy. I get up every morning and tell Victoria, today is going to be a great day. You know what I'm doing? Thinking myself happy, getting my mind going in the right direction. It's easy to get up and think yourself sad, think yourself into self-pity. Why did I come down with this illness? My friends are all married. Why am I still single? These people at work are not fair. It's never going to work out. You're thinking yourself defeated. You have to change what you're thinking. Yes, I came down with this illness, but Father, I want to thank you that you're restoring health back into me, that I will live and not die, that my best days are still in front of me. Or yes, these people at work are not treating me right, but I'm not a victim. I know I'm a victor. God, you always cause me to triumph. Happy thoughts are, God, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm excited about my future. I believe you're taking me from glory to glory, that I haven't seen or imagined the great things you have in store. When you think happy thoughts, it not only lifts your spirit, but that attitude of faith is what allows God to do amazing things. After Paul gave this great speech to King Agrippa, he was sent back to prison. His prayer wasn't answered. You would think now, surely he'd be discouraged. Surely he'd be complaining. No, in prison he wrote, "Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice." He was telling us, even when it doesn't go your way, just keep thinking happy thoughts. Keep giving God praise. Keep thanking Him that He's working in your life. Keep being grateful when you could be complaining. Keep thinking victory even when you're seeing defeat. Happiness is not dependent on what's going on around you. It's dependent on what's going on in you. What kind of thoughts are you thinking? I'll never get well. I've had this too long. You're thinking yourself discouraged. I can't break this addiction. It's been in my family for years. You're thinking yourself limited. I can't be happy, Joel. I've been through a lot of loss, a lot of heartache. That is not how your story ends. But here's the key. You have to give yourself permission to be happy. Sometimes we bought into the lie that we're not supposed to be happy. We've been through too much. We've made too many mistakes. If we're happy, people may not understand. Can I tell you, you're supposed to be happy. God created you to enjoy your life, to laugh, to smile. Happiness starts on the inside. Give God something to work with. Every morning you need to say to yourself, I'm happy, I'm grateful, I'm blessed. You can't receive happiness if you're thinking sadness. Joy is coming every morning. Some people have been bypassing it year after year because of their thoughts. You will live happier if you'll start thinking happier. While Paul was sitting in prison, he wrote in 1 Thessalonians, be happy in the faith, glad-hearted continually. He was telling us again, think happy thoughts, be glad-hearted. He didn't say anything about our circumstances. Be happy if people treat you good. Be happy if your plans work out. Be happy if you don't have disappointments. He was saying, get in a habit of thinking happy thoughts. Don't let the negative circumstances talk you out of living happy. I was driving down the road the other day in a hurry to get to an appointment. There was a car in front of me going 20 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone. It was a one-lane street. You couldn't pass. Wasn't a school zone. The driver wasn't elderly. I couldn't understand why they wouldn't go. At one point, I had to make up my mind that I was going to think happy thoughts because the thoughts that were coming were not happy. My first thought was blow the horn, call them a name, get out of my way. I was about to think myself upset. I did what I'm asking you to do. God, I know you're in control. You're ordering my steps. I think that it's a good day. I'm healthy. I'm blessed. I have a bright future. I just switched over to happy thoughts. Not long after that, they turned. I honked my horn and went on. But in the scripture, I didn't. In the scripture, Habakkuk put it this way. Though the fig tree does not blossom, though there be no fruit on the vine, though the olive crops fail and there are no cattle in the stalls. Everything was going wrong for Habakkuk. Business was down. Crops weren't producing. His income was limited. If he'd have stopped there, he'd been depressed, discouraged, drugged through the day. But he went on to say, yet will I rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. He was saying, even when I'm not seeing increase, even when things aren't going my way, slow drivers, delays, the medical report hasn't improved, I'm not going to fall apart. I'm still going to think happy thoughts. I'm still going to thank God that I'm alive, that I have purpose, that good things are in store. Are you thinking yourself sad, thinking yourself discouraged, thinking yourself a victim? It's time to start thinking happy thoughts. A lady I know is very joyful. She always has a smile. Every time I'm around her, she's so good-natured and so fun. And she's had difficulties in life. It hasn't been easy, but she's learned this secret to think happy thoughts. She was at a store and she went up to the counter to purchase something. The man at the register asked how she was doing. She said with a big smile, very enthusiastically, I'm blessed and just grateful to be alive. He looked at her and said, do you go to Lakewood?